So you're thinking of moving to Pickering, Ontario? Well, in this video, we're going to be talking about the top 5 neighborhoods in Pickering, Ontario, and I'm going to do a couple of things for you. First, we're going to hop in my car and I'm going to take you for a ride. I have taken extensive footage of each of these neighborhoods so that you can see them up close and personal. Then I'm going to show you the different styles of homes, different price points, so that whether you're looking for your starter home, your forever home, you're going to get a good picture of how far your budget can take you and get a picture of what it's like living right here in Pickering. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Toronto and the surrounding areas like Pickering, then subscribe below, tap the bell for notifications so that you are the first to know about everything that's going on with the real estate market in Toronto. My name is Rochelle Hillier. I'm a local real estate agent right here in Toronto. For the last 7 years, I've been helping people just like yourselves move to the Toronto area, and I absolutely love it. So whether you are looking to move in 9 days or 90 days, just give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or even schedule a Zoom call down in the description below. I'd be happy to help you make your next move to Toronto a smooth one. Pickering is not that big. There's only about 91,000 people, but it is a growing suburb of Toronto that people are flocking to. People want to be in a growing area that is relatively affordable, but is still close enough to downtown Toronto. And it also sits on the shores of Lake Ontario, so you really do get the benefit and the beauty of lakeside living here as well. So let's get right into it. Let's zone in on some of the more popular neighborhoods in Pickering. The first area that I want to show you is actually where I'm at right now. It's called Bay Ridges, and not only is it one of Pickering's more signature residential neighborhoods, it is also known for a waterfront community, or being a waterfront community, home to Frenchman's Bay, a really popular community that is home to a marina, lakeside shopping and restaurants, and beach-style homes that you can see behind me right off the shores of Lake Ontario. So I'm really excited to show you what it's all about. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Welcome to Bay Ridges. This is a new collection of nautical themed homes that have been developed just in the last 20 years or so. So very quick background on this area. Back in the 1950s, when Highway 401 was first built, a lot of Torontonians who initially bought their cottages here winterized them so that they'd become year-round primary homes. So that's actually what you see here. And then development in this area really took off in the 60s and 70s. And then more recently, these newer nautical themed white clad townhouses came into the mix and completed this picturesque water village type of community that you see here today. What I'm standing in front of right now is your typical home here on Wharf Street, which is the main road that takes you to Frenchman's Bay. You can see that this is actually a 3-bedroom, 4-bathroom, 3-story semi-detached home that sold for $905,000 last year. But what's really unique about the homes along this road are that they are a residential and commercial mix. So all along Wharf Street here, you can see behind me actually are all the shopping and restaurants, but downstairs here, this is where you can have the commercial part of your property. So you can run an ice cream shop, a boutique shopping store, like a retail store. So this type of property does allow you to have that commercial component downstairs. But even if you don't have a business yourself, you can even rent the space out to someone who does have a business and they can run their shop out of the ground floor. Your option, your other alternative, is that you can keep the space to yourself and perhaps use that bottom floor as another living space. And then upstairs and on the third floor, that's where you'll have your other living spaces like your living room, your kitchen, etc., etc. Now with any given home, you can see that you've got a lot of balcony, you've got a lot of outdoor space, and you've got marina, or if not, waterfront views as well. Now if you walk further along the waterfront, you'll eventually hit the neighborhood of Rosebank, which hit the top 5 list as well, primarily because it is home to some of the most exclusive homes for sale in Pickering. So let's go take a look there. Now, like I mentioned, Rosebank is home to some of the most exclusive homes in Pickering. They are at a higher price point than most other neighborhoods in Pickering. People do move out here because of its prime location to the water. You've got a lot more, or you've got a more affluent community. So you've also got a lot more older century homes where people are restoring them with interior upgrades and renovations. But what I personally like about Rosebank is that because it is an older community, you get that variety of different styles of homes that you don't get in newer subdivisions. Here, the housing stock is quite varied in that you've got a good mix of colonial style homes, ranch style bungalows, you've got duplexes, but even here more so, you've got a lot more individuality. You know, each home is a lot more unique than the one next to it. You don't see 2 houses that look alike in this neighborhood. And at the same time, a lot of them have their historic charm, and so they're all really unique in their own way. You also may have noticed from the drive-through a really pretty streetscape as well, where you have a lot of tree-lined streets, which is really beautiful, you know, this time of the year, but also not too long ago, back in November, you had a lot of foliage on the trees. Not so much now because it's the middle of December, but even in the warmer months, the foliage is really full and green, so it is really attractive in that sense as well. But what I really wanted to show you is your typical home here in Rosebank. Now, many of the homes here do have either a ravine lot or some sort of waterfront view. This home behind me is one of them. It's got a nice brick exterior with wonderful curb appeal, which is common in this neck of the woods. You know, there is a great sense of pride of ownership in Rosebank, which you can see from the nicely manicured lawns, the well-maintained exterior. Now, this one, you may not be able to tell on video, but it is on a huge lot, close to 1 acre actually, and you've got the home sitting on the Rouge River. So you've got this little wildlife paradise right in your own backyard. Now, there is a price point to it though. This home sold very recently for $2.1 million, but that does come with 4 really good sized bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and an attached nanny suite. Now, I want to keep walking a little bit here because in Rosebank specifically, and in the last 10-15 years especially, we've seen a lot of large custom infill properties being built here. Now, an infill is any type of home that has been built in an already established neighborhood. So say you're demolishing a single family home and building a new one on the same lot, or even building a duplex on a lot that used to have a single family home. Those are a couple of examples of what infill properties are, and Rosebank is known for having a lot of these custom infill homes. So now I'm going to take you over to an infill home just up the street, and poof, we're here. Now, what I'm standing in front of is your prime example of a custom infill home here in Rosebank. And you can see you've got a more contemporary design on the exterior. I've been inside as well in this home, and I can tell you that the home has been extensively renovated with really modern finishings. And the main floor here is all open concept. So this one is actually 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, and just over 1,700 square feet, I believe, and sold for $1.8 million. So if you are wanting to move into a more established community, but in a newer home, then Rosebank does offer a lot of infills that would likely suit your taste and lifestyle, as well as more historic homes with a lot of character, many of which have been restored to fit the needs of today's buyers. All right, now let's change it up and take in a new change of scenery. So if you are looking for more affordable options, but still be close to good schools, shopping, and amenities, then I have a ton of good options for you. So follow me while I take you to number 3 on our top 5 list, which also happens to be one of Pickering's largest neighborhoods, which is Liverpool. Fun fact, I'm actually standing in front of one of Liverpool's main intersections, Kingston and Liverpool, in front of a popular neighborhood bar called Liverpool John's. This restaurant used to be an old hotel called the Liverpool Arms Inn that was built way back in the early 1800s. Back then, a lot of old travelers from Kingston, Ontario, coming to Toronto would stay here because back then, before the major highway, the 401 was built, this street, let me just turn around here, it was the main travel route for those travelers from Kingston to Toronto. Now, this hotel was actually advertised at $1 a day, and one of the most advertised guests there was actually one of Canada's first prime ministers, Sir John A. Macdonald. So there is a lot of history to this neighborhood, and they really started to develop it more recently by building residential homes in the area. So you do see a lot of older homes here, but it is still a very popular neighborhood for families because there are lots of schools, plenty of parks, and access to shopping right here on Kingston Road. There is also a really good variety of houses to choose from, including entry-level townhomes, semi-detached homes, and large single-family homes. So come with me for a ride, and I am going to show you what exactly those homes look like here in Liverpool. Let's go. Welcome to a typical neighborhood right here in the community of Liverpool. Now, what I'm standing in front of right now that I wanted to show you is a typical home that you can find in this neighborhood. This one recently sold for $1.25 million. So that is sort of the average price point that you're looking at when it comes to a single family detached home here in Liverpool. Now, this one is very close to where I was before at Liverpool John's. We're about about a 5-minute drive away. And for $1.25 million, not only do you have a great location, you're actually on a ravine lot here, walking distance to schools, parks, public transit, and shopping. Now, this home specifically, you can see the exterior. You've got that nice Tudor revival style type of exterior, and then on the interior you've got about 2,000 square feet with a separate entrance to the finished basement apartment. Altogether, the home has 3 plus 1 bedrooms, 4 washrooms. Now, in terms of location, you aren't too far from David Farr Park. Now, that park is situated right in the middle of this neighborhood. It's a large park with a pretty paved trail and a children's playground. So this neighborhood is definitely very family friendly. And that park is actually home to the Glendale Tennis Club. That tennis club actually has 4 tennis courts, which makes it the largest of all the community-based tennis clubs in all of Durham region. So this, this neighborhood is really nicely located wherever you are in Liverpool. You've also got Kingston Road, which is just 2 minutes away from here by car. You just hop in for a drive and you'll see that there will be a lot along Kingston Road, a good cluster of national retailers, including Home Depot, Food Basics, Shoppers Drug Mart, Michael's, Sleep Country, as well as a lot of fast food restaurants and medical and professional offices as well. Now let's move on to the next home that I want to show you here in the neighborhood of Liverpool. We're going to move just a little further down, a couple streets away, and I'm going to show you another home that you can get at an average price point if you're looking for a single family detached. We are going to get into other styles of homes in a little bit, but for now, let's take a walk just about a few streets down and I'll show you our next property. So guys, that was Liverpool for you. I had to get back into my car because my phone was dying and I just was charging my battery for a little bit. But what I did wanted to mention before I move on to the next neighborhood is that this is also a good neighborhood for commuters, because on Liverpool Road, which is just a stone's throw away, it has an interchange on Highway 401. So all you need to do is just drive up the main road on Liverpool and then you're on the highway in just a couple of minutes. And then in terms of shopping and amenities nearby, there's actually a local shopping plaza, which is called the Maple Ridge Shopping Center, which is just off of Liverpool Road as well, Liverpool and Finch. This old school shopping plaza, they have a lot of, independent stores and convenience stores and all a bunch of, services. Now, if you are looking for a quieter, more rural setting, then look no further. I am going to take you up to the next neighborhood on our top 5 list, which is northern or rural Pickering. Now, rural Pickering is pretty much north of Concession Road 7, which is the first major road north of Highway 7. So basically, the northern half of Pickering would be considered rural. And that's where you're going to find a lot of farmland and green space. So if you're looking to move to this area, then you'll likely find yourself in one of the smaller hamlets or villages. So let's go for a ride through one of those hamlets, which is called Claremont, because this is where you're going to find the widest variety of homes to choose from. All right, so let's go. here to Claremont, we did pass by a number of agricultural farms. Now, these farms do provide a lot of the locally sourced produce for the Pickering Farmers Market. And then once you get here, and even passing by the nearby hamlet of Brome, you'll see a few local shops and essential services, as well as a few restaurants. Now, in terms of living here in the neighborhood, I am actually standing in front of this beautiful country home in one of the most sought after neighborhoods here in Claremont. So this one, the blue house here, it actually sold for 1.3 million. And what you get for that price is actually 3 plus 1 bedrooms, 3 baths, and a really good sized lot. So this one, if you can see, is actually on a 72-foot frontage and 132 feet deep, which is, you know, typical here in the country because you are afforded a lot more space. You have a lot more lawn, which could be a good or a bad thing depending on how you look at it. But it is more to maintain, but you do get the privacy. You get a lot more area for your kids to play or for you to garden, you know? Whatever the case is, because you are in the country, homes like these typically do have well water as their main water source. Now, this home, it does run on well and septic, but you do have access to municipal hydro and gas. Now, you're actually really close to the Tomlinson Community Center. It's just down the road here. It's only about a 5-minute walk away from here. So that's where you have their community center. There is a large park right next to it with sports fields and tennis courts. And so it really is beautiful. Now, if you did want to enjoy, you know, outdoor exercise, then cyclists would be happy to know that you can enjoy this countryside setting if you just go along the Greenbelt route. Which, fun fact guys, so the Greenbelt route in Ontario is actually the largest in the world. It's about 2 million acres of protected land. So you get to take in the scenery of, you know, farmland and forests and rivers. And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, if you're wanting to access city amenities and be closer to town, then, you know, you're not too far from Highway 407, which is a toll road, but maybe just a 5-minute drive away from here, which, full disclosure, is it's a toll road, but to get into town and into the busier parts of Pickering, you would only be a 10-minute drive along that 407. So let's actually go there to the number 5 spot on our top 5 list, which is the city center. Last but not least, I'm here at the number 5 spot on our top 5 list, which is the city center. And I'm going to show you a range of other housing options here because so far we've only been looking at single family homes in the $1 million price range. But now I'm going to show you the other options at lower price points so that you get a full picture of how far your budget can take you elsewhere in Pickering. But before I do get into that, just let me give you a quick breakdown on the Pickering City Center. You can see here that I'm standing in front of Pickering Town Center. This is one of the largest shopping malls in Durham region, and just across the street from the mall you've got City Hall, and I know you can't see it, but across from City Hall you've got Chestnut Hill Recreation Center, which is the largest rec center in Pickering. And then not too far down the street from the rec center is the Pickering Go Station. Now here's the thing guys, this is something that I need to tell you about. Very important changes that are happening right here in the next few years. So the city actually has major plans to revamp this entire city center as well into an upbeat, contemporary, thriving downtown core. Now what their plans are exactly, I don't even know where to begin. But first off, they are going to build, for example, 3 condo buildings here, including a 50-story high-rise. So that's going to create a lot more housing here, obviously, but also an influx of new residents. They're also expanding the library, which is amazing because, in my humble opinion, the library that they have right now, it's wonderful. It's already 2 stories with a great selection of books and resources, but they are going to make it even bigger and updating the whole look of the library to make it more fresh and modern. Now, they're also adding in a youth and senior center and a public square. Now, I don't want to get into too much detail about that in this video. I do have another video here that is more about that project and investment opportunities that exist there. But if the city center is a place for you, then get in touch with me before demand really picks up and demand and prices really start to shoot up too. So let's go for a drive and take a look at what the city center housing looks like. Come with me for a ride in my car and let's go. So here in the Pickering City Center, as with any city center, you've got a really dense population. And that's because this is where you'll see a whole bunch of high rises, office towers, and tons of amenities nearby. But you could also see from the drive-through that we just did that we passed by a good number of condo and apartment buildings, and also newer townhouses, entry-level towns, even detached homes right here off of Valley Farm Road. Now, right behind me in the heart of town, you've got your typical condo building, which you can find units that are 3 bedrooms, 2 baths at an average price point of around the $620,000 mark. Now, condo fees in this building specifically, which cover parking and water and building insurance, they average about $450 a month. Now, for that sort of price range, you've got a great location. You are walking distance to the mall right now that I just showed you, and you're really close to public transit. But what I really want to do is just drive a little further up the street and show you some townhouse options, if that floats your boat. All right, I'm in a gated community here with 24-hour security, not too far from the last building. So again, I'm walking distance to all the nearby amenities. Now, what you're looking at right now is a townhouse complex designed for small families, young and growing families, downsizers, and retirees. Here, you can find a typical 3-bed, 2-bath town, just over 1,600 square feet for about $700,000. Your condo fees are going to be about $700 a month roughly, and that would include 24-hour security, underground parking, water, among other things. But the really nice thing about living in a space like this is that not only do you have more interior space, you've got your own backyard as well. It's not the largest and it's not the biggest backyard, but you can host barbecues and enjoy a picnic outside, which you can't do in most apartment buildings because, you know, you're not allowed to bring propane tanks into elevators. So if entertaining is your thing, then you've got plenty of space indoors and outdoors to do so in a townhouse like this. So with that said, that wraps up our tour of the top 5 neighborhoods in Pickering, Ontario. I hope you found this helpful. As you can see, Pickering is primarily a residential community with all the services and attractions available in suburbia. But no matter what city or what neighborhood you choose to move to, you will find that it is very family friendly with lots of parks and recreational activities. It is an up-and-coming part of the GTA that investors are wanting to put their hands in. So whether you are moving or investing in 9 days or 90 days, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or even schedule a Zoom call, all in the description below. I'd be happy to make your next real estate move a smooth and successful one. So I hope to see you around town. Until the next video.